Hello and welcome to Off the Beat and Track podcast. I'm your host, I'm Stu Whiffen. It's another week, therefore it's another episode. And I'm thrilled to say I'm joined today by Jamie Webster. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Stu. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm good, and I'm pleased for this chat. Yeah, we've got a mutual friend in Molly McCann,
Oh, great.
and so yeah, when I had the opportunity to chat to you, I just thought, yeah, let's get a scouse on,
Yeah,
and I'm
boss.
right.
Molly's a belter, by the way.
Ain't
Yeah.
she? Like
Oh,
it literally is, and yeah, and I wouldn't want to get a belt off her either, mate.
no, definitely not. I digged her in the arm once, messing around, and I nearly broke my hand. So, she's a cracker. She's a belter. Yeah.
Love it, love it. Well, look, let's kick off your playlist, Jamie, and I'm going to ask you first to tell me the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro, please.
Yeah, so it's Tom Petty, American Girl. It's just the guitars, just the, it's just sort of build and build and build and build, and you're just waiting for the sort of drums to almost break into the beat, and when it does, it's you're just sort of nodding your head, and it's an amazing song. But I think the way the intro sort of layers, like just guitar on guitar on guitar, and it just seems quite frantic, and you just
Yeah.
know something cool's about to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Frantic's the word. It's got like that urgency in it, where
Yeah,
like
yeah,
as you say, it just builds and builds, and then it just thunders, and the chorus feels just like a release. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah. It's. I mean, there's an amazing live version of it, and I think they opened the set with it when they played the Super Bowl in like 90 in the 90s anyway, I think. And like they're playing on like a hard stage, him and the harp, and it's just I'm pretty sure they open with that song, and all the crowd are running from the seats onto the pitch, you know, in that frantic
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
And, like, yeah, it's just standing up on me thing, just thinking about it was amazing. Do you know what I mean? I just wish, if there's one thing I wish I could have done, like I would have been born earlier for. There's probably a lot, but one of them would definitely be to be in that crowd sprinting towards the stage with that
Yeah,
intro like booming. You know, it must
yeah.
have been like an amazing moment for everyone who was there.
I want to ask you about intros because like there's no messing with that intro. It is pretty much straight in, and but I think if you listen to like other Tom Petty songs, they can be like quite elongated, the intros, and quite drawn out. Uh, and what I want to ask you is in 2026, the way that people are consuming their music is way different to how they were when Tom Petty was releasing, American Girl or Free Falling, etc. And it feels now that there's so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Like everything seems so fast paced, and attention spans seem to be getting shorter and shorter. And if you went there now with this like 30-second intro, record labels would be like, "Wow, what the hell is this?" And I just wonder, like, if at all, like any of that kind of expectation and TikTok being used, which is these bite-sized snippets of music. There's good and bad in all of it, but I want to know if them kind of pressures filter through into your creative like kind of approach to the intro.
Unfortunately, yeah, they have to. I mean, obviously, when I'm writing album tracks, so to speak, and more introspective songs, I sort of I have to write them off as not singles really because of the intros that if I do use a big long intro, even Weekend in Paradise, it's once around the chords and then I'm straight in with the singing, and I actually start with the chorus, just drop down, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's what I'm always sort of told is, can you get to not by me management or specifics, but more when it comes for you're looking for radio play or you're looking for syncs or anything like that, it's can you get to the chorus a bit quicker? And there's an element of it works when it's the right song, and it does.
Hmm.
But I do feel pressure sometimes to do that. But I've sort of have formulas of doing that, like what I do with Weekend in Paradise, where I start with the chorus and then you
Yeah.
you've got something to go back to, and it's that hook. It's She Loves You. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say that. I was going to say that. I think, obviously as the Beatles' career went on, they got far more expansive and the intros become far more elongated and such. But them first few albums, it was like bang, chorus straight in. And these 2.5 minute pop songs, and the same with Motown at that point. Again, all like what Motown was doing, it was like straight in with that chorus, the big hook, pull you in straight away. And then, as the 60s developed, it become more stretched out. So I don't think there's any right or wrong to it.
No, I agree. There isn't a right or wrong. It's like I said, the right song. It works great for it,
Yeah.
And I actually learned that lesson from watching The Sopranos, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Before I wrote Weekend in Paradise, I sort of had the idea for it, but I didn't know how to start off the song. I wanted an intro, believe it or not, and so it's a good topic to talk about. And I wanted an intro, and it's the episode where Chris Moltisanti's being a producer in the studio with Adriana's mate's band, and they're playing this song that's very sort of droney and ballady sort of thing, and Chris is saying, "Well, what's up?" And the producer, like the engineer guys, sort of like, "Well, I think we've sort of reached an impasse here," and the band are sort of pushing back, saying, "Well, we had it first taken, or we should have done this song, or we should have done that song," and the producer just goes to them, "Do you want to know what the problem is? Where are the fucking choruses?" He said, "Look, the Beatles, She Loves You, starts with the chorus. That right there is structure to return to." And I just went, "Oh my God, I'll just start with the chorus, just slow down a bit." And I literally went and put the chorus of Weekend in Paradise at the start. And the song just was, I was like, that's it. So it's hard to say, I wouldn't say no, songs shouldn't have an intro because, like you say, Baba O'Reilly by The Who.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a classic intro, isn't it? It's not as personal to me, but, it's an amazing intro. Bohemian Rhapsody, the scene that sets before you actually get into, what an amazing song. So 17 Going Under, the intro's pretty, until the drums come in. So it can work without, it's just on the song, and it's the unfortunate thing is there is no formula to either. Yeah. It's just what comes out here and how you feel and how you put it across. And I think you shouldn't maybe give it too much thought if you can help it. You know what I mean? You just write what comes out here, and then maybe when you go in the studio with the producer, they'll say, "Well, this would be cool with an intro, or this would be cool to just come straight in and just give it." Yeah. That's what you pay a producer for at the end of the day. So I still think that. I do consciously think that when I am writing for a new album, I think I do need a couple of singles here. It's maybe get in a bit quicker. But if I've got a song that I've envisioned and it's sort of coming to me, I'll go with what I'm feeling, you know what I mean? And it's just depending which way the pendulum swings that day, do you know what I mean?
Love it. Jamie, tell me the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please, mate.
So, Hurricane by Bob Dylan.
That'd do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And
I mean, from talking about 2.5 minute songs, we're now going to talk about Hurricane.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it was, I remember being I'd listened to Oasis and all of that and sort of coming into the Beatles and the Lars and stuff like that. Oasis and the Stone Roses, believe it or not, 2 Manchester bands were my sort of breakthrough bands into music. And so it was, we went to my mate's older brothers. Him and his mates had got a house that they were renting. And they were like 17, so what's the mate was about 14, something like that. And I was, starting to put a few chords together at that time. And my mate's older brother, one of my mates was as well, and one of my mate's older brothers could play guitar. So we sort of sat in the kitchen playing music and talking about music. And someone goes, "I put the Hurricane on." And I was like, "What's the Hurricane?" And like a few people were like a bit older, were like, "What, you've never heard the Hurricane?" And I was like, "No." Like Bob Dylan, I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know, blowing in the wind and knocking on heaven's door." And they were like, "Oh no, you've got to listen to the Hurricane." And he told me what the song was about and told me that there was a film about it. I was quite lucky that I got sort of I got a bit of context before I listened. And he said, I remember him saying, "Everyone shut up and I'm sort of just sat back and listened to this song, and I was just overwhelmed, you know, with the story and the fact that it was real, and the way he put it together, and the way that the violin weaved in between the song, in between each verse, and sort of gets a bit more frantic and dramatic, and the whole thing, like the whole sound of that record, Desire, the whole record of Desire is something that I one of my favourite albums of all time.
Yeah.
But that, the sound of that, the tone of everything just fitted. Like the realness of the sound fitted like the realness of the lyrics, and you know, to the way he sets that scene and the way he puts them pictures, you can
But
see
that
that.
was that's my next question. That's my next
Yeah,
question. Can you see it?
yeah, you
Because
can.
like we all know the story of Ruben, and it's like, but you, the way he sings it and the way he tells it, you can fucking see it.
Yeah, you can see the. To me, it's like Who Killed To Kill a Mockingbird. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
that film?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
That's the sort of setting I have in my head when I'm seeing Reuben Carter in the jailhouse. You know what I mean? I'm picturing that jailhouse. I'm picturing, I'm like and the place where Reuben lives. Where the trout streams flow and the air is nice and stuff like that. And you think the the roller coaster that it takes you on. You feel like you feel good at times and you feel angry at times. You feel sad at times in the song, and it's like you feel empowered. You feel like energized to do something about it. You know what I mean? It's an amazing track. I think it's one of the best tracks of all time with the significance of it and actually what it did. Because he did get out, didn't he? Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And I only seen the film after it. It was the song first, and
yeah.
you know, I think the significance of what the song actually did has to put it up there amongst the greatest songs of all time. It's not an earworm, but it's a magical, magical song.
Absolutely. I normally ask guests to tell me the emotion, like if they could pinpoint it, but you just reeled off like five because that story goes everywhere, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
it's like it's not got one feel to it. It's like you get the whole, you get the movie in like 9 minutes or whatever, however long the track is. I'm sure it's something along them lines. But yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to ask you to tell me the song that reminds you of your time at school, please, Jamie.
Okay, so it's a bit of a change of pace, do you know what I mean? And it's Gorilla's Feel Good Inc.
Yeah.
And first of all, what a song, what a band. Um, cool as fuck. Just that's what I describe the Gorillaz music as. Do you know what I mean? It's cool, it's groovy, it's got an edge, it's got something different. And the reason that this song it was played in my primary school leavers disco that we had, and we had like the first time we had like a limo that took us round the corner, and like we were like, and there's a video that I haven't seen in years. I haven't seen it in years and years, but I remember watching it afterwards, and the sort of the rapping bit, like me and my mates are sort of like singing and dancing and like probably getting the lyrics wrong, to be honest with you, but like
Yeah.
and then and I just think that bit, but then the refrain where when the windmill falling like that is just nostalgia to
Yeah.
me in a can. You know what I mean? And it's just been opened. It's every time I hear it, I just feel younger. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I feel a bit free. Do you know? I feel more free. Like it's an amazing moment because the song is so. It's almost like three different parts to the
Yeah.
song, isn't it? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's yeah. Without actually, I don't really even to this day. I don't know what most of the lyrics say, but it's
Yeah.
just that forever love is free. Let's talk together, you and me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just them lyrics alone are good enough to make it, the hit that it was. And
Absolutely. And I think
yeah,
like, I'm of an age where, I caught Blur at the right time. I was 18, 19 when Blur come through, and I was lucky enough that they played my venue, and then I've got to see them so many times. They're fellow Essex boys,
yeah,
and then from conquering the world and becoming a legit pop star in the mid 90s. Him and Liam become, cover stars of smash hits and stuff. And then to go on and then, after all that success, and then I'm presuming, like record sales wise, they've probably eclipsed Blur, the Gorillaz, because they've smashed America. And
Yeah.
and it's weird because I feel like I have to talk about Oasis if I talk about Blur, but I think I've always had this kind of thing that like Oasis are like the Stones. They've got their formula and it's banging, and they just bang out, a very similar sound, but they smash it because that's what they do, and they're the best at it. I think Damon is a bit more like Bowie. I think he'll just like each record, whether it's a Blur record, whether it's Gorillaz, it evolves and it changes, and he'll push it, and I kind of really like that about him.
Yeah, I'd say he's a visionary. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Which is what Bowie was rather. And yeah, the thing is with Oasis though, they're the band that makes everybody sing, and there's something to be said for that. You know what I mean? Like it's unheard of. That these concerts that every single word of every single song. Liam Mayer's, he doesn't even have to be there. He only needs to sing the first 3 notes, and then, there's something to be said for all of them songs. It is a formula that's been, it gets repeated, but I don't think it gets exhausted because
100% not.
But while people will argue that some of the latter albums are not as good as some of the earlier albums of Oasis, but people probably say that about me as well. But and maybe with the exception of AM, people will say that about the Arctic Monkeys as well. But there's absolute stone cold hits, 2 or 3 of them on every single album, no matter which.
Oh, mate.
And I do agree. I would say that, Damon is a lot more like Bowie in that sense, that he's more of a visionary. I think he's more arty, more of an artist.
100%.
More of an artist. But yeah, I just think as a conventional songwriter, Noel is a freak as well. Just to all of them hooks and just.
I always say this, Jamie, right? Again, I was lucky enough to have seen him very early on, and when you're that confident in your songwriting ability that you write Some Might Say, and then you're like, right, I'm going to need another couple of tracks for the B-sides for this. I've wrote Talk Tonight on this other one called Acquiesce. Yeah. No one ever writes a fucking Acquiesce. Someone writes Acquiesce. It's their greatest thing they've ever done. The geezer threw it on a B-side. That's how confident he was in what he could do. That's insane. Yeah. And yet, how many bands have a B-side that millions of people screamed at the top of their lungs at shows 30 or 20 years later? Mental.
Well, I've just got chills up my spine thinking about Acquiesce. Well, the Master Plan album is essentially an album with B-sides, and some people could argue it's one of the best listens.
Master Plan itself, outrageous.
Half the world away, you know what I mean? It is an album of B-sides. It's insanity. Even songs like Going Nowhere, like you say, Talk Tonight. It's
Head Shrinker, loads of them.
It's what is it? I Hope I Think I Know. Mm-hmm. As well. Is that on the Master Plan? It is it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, as we beg and steal and borrow. Do you know what I mean? It's just they're an amazing band, but I do for that. It was hard not to pick an Oasis song really for the nostalgic element. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that song in particular, just Feel Good Inc. And it does what it says on the label, Feel Good. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, just to I'd love to do something like that one day myself, but I would have to probably call it a different name or something, because I tried a slightly different R&B themed single once and did not go down well. So So I've got to learn to navigate them waters a little bit better. But I would, I think it is very Bowie-esque of him to have done what he did with the Gorillaz, and there's even songs like Orange County and stuff like that just I absolutely love. Do you know what I mean? Melancholy Hill is fantastic as well, but I come into that a bit later. It was more like Dare, Dirty Harry, and Feel Good Inc. with the early ones that and
absolute bangers, mate.
It's like you say, to eclipse Blair, with a sort of side project just shows you what a talent he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me the first song you remember buying from a record shop, please.
So we're taking a swift turn again. So it was 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. Do you know what I mean? And the it was just at a time where I really was into Eminem when I was a kid, and then off the back of that, I got into 50 Cent, and we're talking like, God, it was probably took like pre-senior school. Do you know what I mean? Maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was. I'm just gonna pull the track listing up, just because it's just an absolute. And I actually, funny story about this as well. I played on the same stage as 50 Cent in Transmit a couple of years ago. Yeah, I was on about 3 o'clock and he had 4 o'clock and he headlined, and like seeing him bouncing around a little bit. I didn't dare go up to him, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
security guard was 10 times bigger than him. But like, yeah, just I know it's an album that's like, very, it sort of promotes violence and all of that stuff, and it's not something that I'm down with, but there's just so many tunes on it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in the club, it's just like, again, it just takes me back to the time of being dead. I just remember the music videos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Which were also outrageous as well. But I don't know. I just like, I think like my dream, if I was a fighter and I was an hard case, right? If I would walk out to if I can't by
Yeah.
50. Just the intro, dun, 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 and I would, you know what I mean? If I could back up that sort of swagger,
Yeah.
which I definitely can't, I would I would walk out. There's something about it. It just puts a spring in my step, and it did
Yeah.
when I was young. And like what I really used to love about like rap when I was a kid, I used to love learning all the words, even though I didn't have a clue what they were going on about. I just used to love learning all the words and like trying to trying to like rap along to them. Do you know when I was a kid?
Do you think like understanding like it's going to sound a ridiculous thing for a 53-year-old white man to say, but understanding flow, like and the way their lyrics would flow, do, do you think that that did impact on your understanding of music and vocalizing what you're trying to say?
Definitely. Well, if you listen to a lot of my songs, they're very wordy, especially in the verses. Some choruses going out. It's like,
Yeah.
that chorus is. I think I use every syllable I can possibly use. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot. They're all words, and I do think subconsciously. I don't think intentionally, but I think subconsciously that influence of listening to the likes of Eminem, 50 Cent,
Yeah.
it's Tupac, NWA, Biggie. I had a proper like gangster rap phase when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and like a lot of people do in Liverpool. It's the game as well. I went to see the game in Liverpool years ago in the O2 Academy. It's like, like a lot of people like in Liverpool, rap is quite listened to, and I think that's why you have a lot of young scouts like drill rappers and that now coming
Yeah.
through as well, because there is a subculture of people that listen to rap in Liverpool, and like I think it comes synonymously with like people being in gangs and stuff like that. I don't know, you know what I mean? Because it's a
Yeah.
sort of life that they live. But like, I'd say, look, there's two types of songs in the world, yeah. Good songs and bad songs.
Yes,
And
mate.
that's it. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. I don't discriminate. Like, a good tune's a good tune, mate. I like, I mean, I actually think, people might not do Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan. I think that's an absolute screamer of a tune. Do you know what I mean?
Absolute banger, mate.
Do you know what I mean? It's, there's from 50 Cent to that, you know what I mean? There's a lot in between as well. Like, it's not, there's, there's no discriminate. There shouldn't be any discrimination of any sort in life anyway, especially not with music. Do you know what I mean?
And
Just
also, I think with like hip hop and being young, like it's controversial, it's dangerous, it's different, it's a world that you don't understand. It's like these people from Compton or whatever are talking about these lives that you know, growing up in the UK, we don't really experience that. So it becomes almost glamorous and it becomes edgy and different and the sort of thing your folks don't want you listening to. It's like it's essentially punk. Do you know what I mean? And and it's like, and I think it resonates when you're young because you're looking for something, and you want that video nasty, or you want that thing that everyone's saying, "Fucking hell, have you heard this? It's well mad." It's like they're talking about this, and it's like it's exciting when you're a kid, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think you've literally just hit the nail on the head. It's punk from different origins. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
literally what it is. And like, I mean, I think the poor fella's had a crazy old time over the past decade or so. But Kanye West, some of them early albums, mate, like it literally like went so like commercial, with people like him, that it crossed all of them barriers and borders, and just it's there, it's everyone's, and it made it. I don't know, like, yeah, just that album in particular. I just remember listening to it on my Walkman. You know what I mean? And that's why I got a Walkman, and I went out and bought a CD for it, and that was the first one. And yeah, probably walked around thinking I was hard,
love it.
listening to it for days on end. And every now and again, as a guilty pleasure, I do put If I Can't on. Not specifically the album anymore, but If I Can't. It's just something about that tune that just makes
Yeah.
me, I don't know. And I still try and get the words, but I wouldn't let anyone see me doing that. Know what I mean? But yeah.
Everyone's got their boxing walkout song in the back of their head. I don't care if they say
Yeah,
they
yeah,
ain't. Everyone's got
yeah.
one. Everyone's got one.
Yeah.
All right, tell me the song that soundtrack your year's clubbing, please, mate.
Yeah, so it's Show Me Love by Steve Angelo, Laid Back Luke featuring Robin S. And that version of it in particular, it's a Scouse anthem. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it makes me think of Liverpool. It makes me think of Cream, going to Cream before it finished. And, my mate's uncle had the doors, so we used to get straight in, you know what I mean? Even sometimes when we were 17. And like, yeah, it was amazing. Like, that song just just that bit when it comes
Yeah,
in, I can still picture the people that I was with in them moments. Do you know what I mean? And I even covered it once, you know what I mean, or in like a slightly different version of it. You know what I mean? But like, followed that formula. I covered it in the Olympia after my first ever tour, sort of thing. My first album tour, and yeah, got Brooke Combs to sing it, and it was sick. It was a
oh,
belter.
love it,
Yeah.
love it. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about Cream because I've got a venue and I've been a club promoter all my life, and I never got to Cream. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for me, I only got to go 2 or 3 times, before it started to close
Mm.
down. And I can't actually remember the layout of it as well as I should, probably because the state I was in. Do you know what I mean
Yeah,
at that time? But yeah, I remember that night. Laid Back Luke was on. Someone else was on as well. No, it was Laid Back Luke, Eddie Halliwell, and someone else. Do you know what I mean? And like, I remember going into the different rooms. Do you know what I mean? And there being a slightly different vibe in each room, and yeah, like just sweat. Do you know what I mean? Sweat and sticky, but like love as well. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was boss. And Cream was probably my first experience of like going to a proper rave when I was like
Yeah,
17.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I've been to parties and stuff like that, and yet it's not quite the same. I've been into town to a
yeah.
club, but like to a proper rave. Cream was like my taster into that sort of life. Do you know what I mean?
That's a
And
baptism of fire right there, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It certainly is. But we were, I sort of dabbled in that world, not musically, just socially,
Yeah, yeah,
for a few years. And like, I've had some of the best times of my life doing it, some of the maddest nights. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Some of the most bizarre situations that you find yourself in, like, at that age when you're doing them things. It's, you know, it's a rite of passage, I think. Do you know what I
yeah, yeah,
mean? For most people. And you learn a lot about yourself as well, which you don't think at the time.
yeah.
You think you know it all at that time, but you don't, and you learn a lot about yourself, sort of going through it. And I wouldn't change them days for none. You know what I mean? I really wouldn't. Like, I've got some great memories. I've made some amazing mates through it. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
through one mad night out, like a person that you met on that mad night, even if you don't see them as much as you'd like to. When you see each other, the memories of that
yeah, mate.
one night, like, sort of bond you forever. Do you know what I mean? And there's a few people who I've met in that sort of scenario. But yeah, that song, Laid Back Luke, it's just, well, you know, Show Me Love. It's just it's just a stone cold banger. Do you know what I mean? And just the chorus is amazing. So baby, if you want me, you know what I mean? Just like when it comes, like,
Yeah,
you can't help but sing and dance. You just can't help but smile. You just smiled as I sang it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
mate.
It's yeah, it's fire. It's just, it's there. You could be, it could be like, you know, it's an amazing song because it could be a party starter or a night ender equally. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I think that's the key to a good dance tune. You know what I mean? It can get
yeah,
you going and start your night off when you're hearing,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And you're like, wow, I'm in now, I'm out. But then, you know, it could be that moment where you're all absolutely done. And like, you need that one big release just before you're like,
yeah,
right,
mate.
yeah, that's us now. It's not going to get any better than this. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. We're home. And yeah, that's what that song reminds me of. Like,
Well, look, you just said home, so the club's shut. Let's get you home, and I'm going to ask you to tell me a favourite song from an artist from your home county, please.
yeah, I mean,
You're spoilt, man.
I was just gonna say I'm cheating. Really, I was gonna start. I'm cheating because, you know, I've got the whole of the Beatles. Not only there's the Beatles, Echo and the Bunnymen, the Liars, Cast, the Lightning Seeds. You know, Jerry Marsden, Elvis Costello. There's, like, you know, and if the Coral. Do you know what I mean? Like the Zootons. You know, just the list goes on and on and
And do you
on.
know what? You just listed so many. I've just finished Ian Brody's book, and he's intertwined with so, apart from the Beatles, all of them.
Yeah, man. But he actually seen the Beatles live, so we sort of got.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, in the town hall in Liverpool years and when he was about 7, but he's got memories of seeing them just for a second before the crowd, like, you know what I mean?
Love
And
it.
just remember him saying that. But yeah, Ian Brody's a legend, but, you know, like, you know, I'm sure none of the others would take any offense to me selecting the Beatles over them because, you know, I think, you know, you speak to Dr. Dre, he'll tell you the Beatles were the best ever. Kurt
Yeah.
Cobain told you the same thing. You know, like from Dave Grohl, I watched him at Anfield the other month, and he literally stood on stage and said, I learned everything I know about rock and roll from this city, which he means the Beatles. I've seen him get up and do Band on the Run with
Yeah,
McCartney.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Have you seen him do Helter Skelter?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. I think, did he do that with him as well in Glastonbury, or was that just?
I think he did.
Yeah, he might have done, mightn't he? And then Bruce Springsteen came on and done Glory Days, and that, you know, it's just like, yeah, it's taking a piss now, Paul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, honest, but that was the best. That's my best gig of all time. But you know, best song from someone from my county. For me, my favourite Beatles song is "A Day in the Life." Followed closely second by "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," which I've got to sort of
I can
give
see George over your shoulder
it.
there.
That is three prints on top of each other. So one's just the George print. The second is the music of "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," the score, and the third is his arrest sheet when he got nicked with a bit of pot.
Love it.
And it's all blended over, and it's like the police report, and it says like found with cannabis resin, accents, Liverpool accents, and you know, just stuff like that. And that's me. That's my little pride and joy. That, but George was probably all round my favourite Beatle, but and While My Guitar Gently Weeps is my second favourite Beatles song of all time. But my favourite is A Day in the Life. And the reason why is because I just think it's the perfect blend of Lennon and McCartney. You know, it starts off with Lennon and his like sort of tortured, you know, sort of tortured genius personality just comes straight through in the song with like his eerie, whispery, you know, vocal. I read it, and he's talking about, you know, reading the news, and it's, you know, he blew his mind out in a car. There's all of these lyrics that are so Lennon, they're so cynical, and they're so. And then all of a sudden, there's this mad intermission sort of period, and then the bell starts ringing, dun, 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 and then it is McCartney with almost like a show tune,
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
like a pantomime tune or something like that. And woke up, got out of bed, and
So
it's all
chipper, isn't it?
so
Like,
happy and chipper, and it's the perfect contrast, and it goes in and out, and it's just, you know, it's amazing. It's a fucking joke of a song, mate.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like it's the best of both worlds. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and it was probably proof for me. It's proof that they were the best songwriting partnership of all time. Do you
yeah,
know, like that's why listen to A Day in the Life. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just listen to it with your headphones on, with nothing else but just you and that, and like tell me that like it hasn't made you feel something good.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like took you somewhere else. It's just, yeah, it's magnificent songwriting at its finest, and
It's
I'm dead.
otherworldly, mate. It's
Yeah,
otherworldly.
it is, and I'm dead lucky to. I think everyone from where I'm from is lucky to have the Beatles as like your benchmark of success. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it really drives you, and I think that's why you see a lot of success from Scousers in different fields. Not saying that there's not success from people from all over the place, of course, but like, I think you find, you look at Paddy the Baddy, people like Molly, you know what I mean? You look at the Beatles, the best people like Steven Gerrard, for me, one of the greatest midfielders to ever play the game. Certainly the greatest Premier League midfielder ever. I mean, I'm biased, of course, but like these people were the absolute elites, and I think the fact that, like, knowing that you come from Liverpool, where I suppose at times others may have viewed it as a disadvantage, do you know what I mean? But it's like, well, no, the Beatles came from our streets, and they're worldwide phenomenon. So, like, we can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And like, obviously, I know for a fact I'm never going to be up to the Beatles level. No one ever is. But like to have that in your sights, and and sort of guide yourself by it, you're holding yourself to a good standard, and it's not a guaranteed recipe for success, but it's a hell of a lot more likely. But, a day in the life, and just some of the lyrics, just 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire, and just little things. It's just like, I just think, where
yeah.
were you at that point? You know what I mean? What was going through your mind? And then obviously Paul just comes over and, I wouldn't say saves the day, but almost. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
all good now. I'm here, and we're gonna dance out for this next little bit, and
yeah.
it's amazing. It's an amazing combination, the two of them, and yeah, I what I can say about that song just can't do it any justice. Do you know what I mean? It's that good of a song.
Well, it's your last track, mate, and I'm going to ask you to tell the listeners of the show a song that you think many may not know that you would like them to hear.
This one was pretty easy, to be honest, because he is not only a role model and an inspiration, but he is a friend, and I do see him as a brother as well. Do you know what I mean? Albeit, like, an older brother, and he refers to himself as Uncle Bill. But Billy Bragg, Waiting for the Great Leap Forward. This is a song that I found, like, after knowing Billy, playing with Billy, and meeting him a few times. I never knew, like, the wonder of this song, the gem of this song, and like, it's a thinking man's song. Don't get me wrong. It's not. It's not like She Loves You, like we were talking about earlier in the song. It's not. It's more of a hurricane, more in line with the hurricane. Do you know what I mean? But not about one specific topic. It sort of summarises life and Billy's view towards it, and I feel the same. And it just the way he sets the scene, and just maybe Jack. He's talking about being on the Che Guevara highway, and Fidel Castro's brother's spies, a rich lady who's crying over luxury's disappointment. So he walks over and he's trying to sympathise with her, but he thinks that he should warn her that the third world's just around the corner. Do you know? And he's sort of like setting a scene, and then in the Soviet Union, a scientist is blinded by the resumption of nuclear testing, and he's reminded that Dr. Robert Oppenheimer's optimism fell at the first hurdle. Like, like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? That is, like, who who else just put Robert Oppenheimer, in the song, and made it make sense, and
Yeah,
and took you somewhere, and then the best, like one of the most. I just think it's amazing where he's talking about a bit late. There's another verse in the middle, but the verse after that starts off and it says, "Mixing pop and politics. He asked me what the use is." Now, that's something that's haunted me since playing live, is keep politics out of music. You know what I mean? And it's like, mate, music is political. Do you know what I mean? Life is political. So if I'm going to write about life, unfortunately, the politics are going to be in there somewhere. If you don't fucking like it, don't listen. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, and it's just like he says, he asked me what the use is. I offer him embarrassment with my usual excuses. We're looking down the corridor to where the van's waiting. I'm looking for the great leap forward. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's almost like he's just like, mate, you know what I mean? If you're not going to ask me a serious question, just get the fuck out of my way. I'm just got, and to me, that's what it says. And then, the refrain after the last verse, and it's like one of the one leap forward, two leaps back. Will politics give me the sack? And that's something, I don't know, maybe it's just personal to me, but like that's something that I've worried about a lot of my music, you know what I mean? Staying true to myself, and is it going to haunt me? And then, here comes the future, and you can't run from it. If you've got a blacklist, I want to be on it. And I just thought, yeah, boss, like, he's just, he's a rebel. Do you know what I mean? Like,
mate, he's my hero. He's my absolute fucking hero, man. And like when growing up and trying to sing in bands, and all of a sudden there's a fella that sings and talks like us. It's like, whoa, he's not faking this accent. He's not trying to sound American like a lot of the pop stars from the UK were in the mid-80s. He sounds like he's from Essex, like on the borders of London. It's like, this is amazing. And it was that album that just ripped me in half, because you start that with like, she's got a new spell, and then Valentine's Day is over. Fuck me, man. I don't know where. What I love about Billy Bragg is I align with his political views. Like I'm with him, and and I'm just on board with that. And then I'm just getting fired up because Billy's getting fired up. And then he'll go, "Oh, there's this track now I'm going to sing called Tank Park Salute." And I'm like, "Mate, you've just ripped my fucking heart out my chest. Like, what are you doing, man?" It's like, you can't be that angry and political and then just crush me with like this beautifulness that he's everything, mate.
Mate, and like what I would say about Billy is, like, when you see him live, like you say, the way he like segues in between songs, the way he's so eloquent, the way he talks to his audience. It's as if he's talking to someone in his front room, but there's thousands of people just like, lapping it up. And he's the most he's the most real role model in terms of like music, like this in my musical career, musical, like in my life, you know what I mean? And like, he's a hero for so many reasons, like personal and musically, and like, obviously what his politics are as well, because I feel the exact same, Stu. I'm with you, and I'm with him. And his partner Juliet is, I think I'm even closer to her than I am to Billy, and it's just, he's a if you people say don't meet your heroes, but if your heroes are Billy Bragg, meet them every day, because like, you. And I was in Canada with him recently, in like a month ago maybe, and we were doing a couple of festivals. We were actually doing like this on the same stage together, doing a couple of songs each and stuff like that in Winnipeg. And then I was on straight after, like I was like the warm up slot in between the two main stage acts, which was him and Kathleen Edwards on the main stage in Winnipeg, which is amazing. I had like a little platform off the front of the stage, like to play. It was an amazing opportunity. But then we played in Ottawa, and I played on the same stage as him, just before him. And I stood there, and when he played that song, The Great Leap Forwards, like, I've heard it a million times, I've seen him play it a couple of times, but something about that gig, the way he spoke to that crowd and the topics that he raised, and then, like, he just played in New England. He played, Power of the Union, New England, and then went on this, like you just said, like, unbelievable, like, speech, rant, whatever you want to call it. It was beautiful. And then he played Waiting for the Great Leap Forward, and he changed the end of the refrain to like have a laugh with the Canadians about the World Cup, and it said, "But don't worry, you'll still." He ended the song with, "Don't worry, you'll still beat Morocco at hockey," something like that, you know. And it's just like how clever he put like the song, the journey. I had tears, mate. It was tears, 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 and yeah, it was. I'm just so like, yeah. Sorry, I just got a text through from Tom, but it was just like it was probably one of the best performances I've ever seen. You know,
Yeah.
it was, and like to be stood literally just off the stage from him and just being on his high line and just wow. I mean, it's an amazing song, and like, you know, I think that's what we're all doing in life. Right? We're all waiting for that great leap forward in everything that we do.
Damn
Do you
right,
know what I
brother.
mean? Every step we want it to be the great leap forward. So yeah, if you're like me and you think, you know, you like my musical taste, this is one that you know, I'm especially more people my age. Do you know what I mean? Like you probably and younger, you probably aren't as familiar with it. But if you like your guitars and you like your acoustic guitar songs, this one for the age. And the way it builds musically as well as the drums slowly come in, and then by the end you're all singing, all dancing. Bring me up, Scotty. You know what I mean? It's like it's it's an amazing. So it's the perfect song. It's for me. It's the perfect song. It's a song I wish I'd written. There's like 10 songs that I really wish I'd written in my life, and that is one of them.
Damn right. Damn right. We put together a little Spotify playlist to accompany the podcast, Jamie, of all of your songs that you've picked today, and so what I'm just thinking about it as I'm looking back at over the tracks that we picked. Like, if someone just clicks on that, it's a fucking random mix, isn't it? From 50 Cent to Show
Yeah,
Me Love to Billy Bragg. But the one, you know, the most important music that we've yet to speak about is yours. So I know you're against it on the clock a little bit, but
we're all right. We're all good.
what's what's happening with you, mate?
Yeah. Well, just to go back about that diverse mix, it's what I said to you before. There's two types of songs, good and bad, and
Damn right, mate.
they're all good songs. So to me, they do fit together quite well. But yeah, what I've got going on at the minute is I'm like, yeah, a couple of weeks out from an album release, my fourth album, Running Around the Sun, and equally the same period out from me, my next UK tour. So yeah, it's busy times for me at the minute, but you know that's how I like to be. I like to be moving because I'm the type of person that thinks when I stop, I'm falling behind, and I think there's probably, if you've heard the record, Stu, there's a theme of that running through the album, sort of thing. You know, like it's. I'd probably say the album is sort of like, just if I could summarize the album, I'd say that like it's about navigating through the bad and enjoying the good, and you know, trying to enjoy the good. And I think that is what running around the sun is. You know, that's life. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's why I think it all tied in quite well. We're not walking around the sun because we're in a rat race these days, mate. You know what I mean? We're just fucking sprinting, scurrying around the sun. Do you know what I mean? And just trying to catch the next break. And along the way, you'd have hurdles and obstacles. Do you know what I mean? And pits and stuff like that. And it's about getting out and over them and around them. And
and it's enjoying that them little pockets of joy in between. Just
yeah,
grab them, innit? And
yeah,
like,
you know, through songs, through moments that you'd have through, you know, putting a bit of music. It can be anything, you know, putting a bit of music on, going for a walk with the dog. You know what I mean? Doing a bit of exercise, eating food better, talking, you know, socialising, all of that. That's all the good. You know what I mean? And the bad
yeah,
is, you know, well, it's different for everyone, but you know, it's safe to say that with this, during the period of writing this record, I've been through some amazing moments, and I've been through some really, really low moments, probably some of the lowest. You know, probably because I've made them the lowest in my own head, but that's why they are what they are. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's a self help album because it's got a theme of that, but you know, I don't think I know enough to solve everyone's problems. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's sort of like it's a lot more personal, this album, and it's a lot of it, even the stories that aren't mine, so to speak. You know, like they're not about me. They're told as if coming from me, they're told in first person, they're told through the eyes of them people. So rather than me sort of standing on the pulpit like I have done in last albums, which I've loved, you know what I mean, and sort of casting my opinion and my overall view of things from my panoramic view, this album is definitely more from within the crowd. Do you know what I mean? It's more alongside the crowd. It's more inside the bubble. And it's definitely the most personal record I've wrote. You know, I've never wrote so many personal. The only personal song I've really ever wrote, other than Weekend in Paradise and this place, which obviously this place is me ode to me city. Weekend in Paradise is me saying goodbye to that Show Me Love lifestyle. And, you know, Something in the Air is about my relationship with my wife. And they're the three songs that are most personal. Everything else is sort of social commentary and opinion and you know, like sort of putting the lens on others. But this is me and from within, and also from within inside them others rather than over the top of them. And yeah, it's definitely an album that it's definitely an album that I've found the most challenging, you know. But like I feel like it's been the most rewarding, you know, when I do listen to it and stuff like that. So, and I said with this record, look, I'm not gonna play the game that I've played with the last few because they've nearly killed me. The rat races of these album campaigns and like the margins can be so fine and then end up being so grand, and you know, like I've been in with a shout of the big number a couple of times, and when I fell short, it's killed me, and I thought, you know why? It doesn't even, once that's gone, once that week's over, it's someone else the next week. So it doesn't even, like, you know, it might look good on your CV, it might help you with a couple of festival bookings or whatever else, do you know what I mean? But ultimately, it's up to you to guarantee yourself a career, not a shiny plaque, you know what I mean? And it's the songs, and it's the songs that you write. So I've, I haven't said that, you know, be nice to have one like everyone, you know, it's an accolade. I'm not turning my nose up at it by any means, but this time round, I didn't have it in me to go for the jugular, and you know, I just wanted the music to sort of speak for itself. And like, how I know if my album's done well is not by the sales; it's by the connections that it has with people when I play them live and when I meet these fans and they tell me about certain songs. And you know, unfortunately, meeting families of like fans that are no longer here and hearing about their stories with my songs and stuff like that. That's how you know the significance of the work that you're doing when you meet the people and you speak to the people, and you know, they're the ones who put me where I am, not the chart, not the official charts company. Do you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
And yeah, I just thought, do you know what? I'm really proud of this record, and I think, you know, once it's out there in the world as a full body of work, you know, I think it's going to grow and grow and grow, and yeah, I'm just lucky to be, you know, at the end of the day, mate, I'm just lucky to be doing what I'm doing, you know. I was an electrician for 9 years, and, you know, although I do have bad days and, you know, navigate through some hard times, struggle with, it's all an aftermath of this industry, do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, you know, I got up and played 18 holes of golf today, do you know what I mean? Before I started my work, like, I couldn't do that on the building sites, mate, you know what I mean? It's, like, I'm a lucky lad to have what I have. I'm not saying I haven't worked hard for it, because I have, and you know, I still am working harder than ever. Worked as a spark. Ask my dad, I used to work for him, he'll tell you. But yeah, it's definitely, it's something that I'm just, I can't believe I get to do it. You know what I mean? I'd like even after this album, I know there's another one coming, and you know, I'm in that world. And yeah, I can't quite believe it sometimes. I'm not the type of person that sits back and looks at all my achievements. I'm someone who's always looking for that great leap forward, like to quote Billy.
Mate.
But, you know, when you do have these chats and you do sort of end up looking back at what you've done, you know, and who you are, and you realise that you are who you are and you do what you do, it's, you know, you can't help but feel proud. And that's what I feel of the album. And, you know, this tour, it's not as big a tour as we normally do, and it's a tour that we've, like the album, we left ourselves far too little time, really. Do you know what I mean? We should have announced it a lot earlier or programmed the tour for a lot later, but I'm, there's sellouts there and there's strong sales and all that, but I'm just looking forward to just getting out again now and just doing it. Being on the road with the band is amazing. The lads are great that I work with, the band and crew. Lucky to have them. And then to get out there and, see, I've got great relationships with some of my diehard fans who follow me everywhere, and it's nice catching up with them on tours. But I also like meeting new people and seeing like new crowds and new faces and new venues and all of that. So it's touring's always a good. Once I'm like the pressures of touring are hard, but when I'm on stage, mate, and I'm singing them songs, that's where I genuinely believe I was born to be. You know what I mean? That's what I was meant to do. Like, writing and recording music's, you need to do that so that you can perform them songs. But me on stage with people, it's about that, what I do. I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great guitarist. I'm a solid songwriter, but what my skill is you put me in front of someone, I'll get there with, I'll make a connection. You know what I mean? I'll light that fire between us. And whether it's one person, 10 people, or 100 people, or 60,000 people, whatever it is, that's what I'm born to do. I'm born to be in front of them. And like, there's no drug, drink, anything like it from being standing on a stage and feeling that energy, flowing around while you're singing songs that you've written from a scribble on your kitchen table. Do you know what I mean? It's a mad life and it's a mad world that you live in when you do what I do. But I wouldn't change it for anything if I was being serious with myself. I had hard times and I probably say things that I shouldn't say, and I probably catastrophize and do feel lower than I should maybe, and I'm harder on myself than I should be. I know that, but the good moments outshine all of that. You know what I mean? And I think that's the lesson for life. Not only in my career, in my life. The amazing like experiences I've had with my family and me, my wife, my little dog, my friends. The good always outshines the bad. It's just, I suppose, like the up songs in this album are sort of trying to help myself realise it a little bit more as well as other people. And I just hope everyone likes the album, and I'm sure they will. But this time round, I fucking love it. So that, you know what I mean? That's what matters to me. And I couldn't have worked harder at it. I couldn't have given any more of a try. And hopefully that shines through when people listen to it. And it's another product of Rockfield Studios as well. So
I mean, come on, you mentioned the Roses earlier and you mentioned Oasis earlier. Like, tell me what that's like going there.
It's absolutely, it's my happy place. It really is in today's world. Do you know what I mean? Especially when I've got my wife and my dog there with me as well. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a farm and all the animals are pets, and you're in the middle of nowhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like the nearest town's a 5-minute drive, 10-minute drive. Half an hour, 40-minute walk. So you're literally off a country lane plotted into this world. And obviously all the history that's been there, Bohemian, as well as what you mentioned, Bohemian Rhapsody, Ace, How Long, Paolo Nutini still goes there. There's still amazing records. The Cure is still there all the time. It's like, it's got something. And no studio, especially like an independent residential, UK's first residential studio, that's run by two brothers who were pig farmers that at 18 decided, now we don't want to be farmers, we want to run studios. The fact that it's still going means there's something magical there. There's so many amazing studios with massive backing in more convenient locations have come and gone. Do you know what I mean? And Rockfield, and it's down to the people there, and like you dropped into the world of the Ward family. You dropped into their world, but instantly made you feel like it's your own. And there's something to be said for that. And the best thing about it is with me, it's me and the lads go there, and obviously mates, and a couple of my mates come down now and again, and the loveliest old days, Sue and Jan, and Victoria and Becky. Victoria and Becky aren't as old as Sue and Jan, but just in case they might listen to this, so that, I didn't right. But like, they're amazing cooks, and like it's hearty soul food, like proper. Especially in the winter when you get your bangers and mash and your pies and all of that, you know what I mean? It's proper. But like, it's we eat together every night as like table of 10. You know what I mean? We all sit down and have our tea together, like break bread almost, and you feel like you're in school again. Because like Dave's the producer, Dave Erringer, and like he's not the teacher. He'd hate me saying that because he's a friend of mine. He's a close friend. It's not like that. But when we're in Rockfield, he has to run the schedule and he has to make sure that we're all doing what we're supposed to be doing to get the album finished. So he's almost like the teacher, and we're like, you just have that. You sort of go back 15 years in your head, and I think that's why so much good music comes from there and is created there, because you're free. And yeah, I
So
can
was
just.
Dave there with the Manics back in the day?
Dave's been there for 30 odd years, yeah, with the
Yeah.
Manics. He took the Manics there, I think. He's been there with so many bands. He's been there with Roger Daltrey, I think. He's been there with Wilco Johnson. He's been there with all sorts of people. He's a legend. And yeah, he's one of the, he sort of comes with the territory. If you want to work with Dave and you're actually giving him the choice of where to work from, it's Rockfield every time for him, you know what I mean? It's only if like band's budget or travel plans affect it, he'll go somewhere else. But like, and Rockfield love having him as well. They say he's one of ours, and do you know what I mean? And there's probably about 5 or 6 that they say that about. And when I was last there, I met John Leckie. He was doing a bit of writing for his book, and I just knocked on his door, really. And he was in the other accommodation where the Roses stayed. I just knocked on his door and just said, "Hey, John, I'm here. Singer from Liverpool. Do you mind if we have a little chat with you?" And he just said, "No, come in, mate." You know what I mean? And he just, I was asking him about like Radiohead and all sorts of stuff, and like, it's an amazing place, and you're fully free to just create, and there's nothing to distract you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know Liam was down the pub as much as he could and like driving down in the car, but I'm not a drinker, so there's nothing to distract me. Do you know what I mean? There's not. I don't drink anymore. I've had me show me love years. Do you know what I mean? And like, I don't do that no more. But I go to Rockfield and I just feel different, and it's the perfect place to record a record. And I just urge any young musicians, if you can find the money and you can find the time to go, it is special. So go there, but go with the right producer, and you'll have an amazing time.
Love it. Jamie, if people want to come and see you, or if people want to find out about releases and such, where's the best place to keep up to speed with you, mate?
So I'm assuming, I'm going to have to double check that it's .com and not .co.uk, but I think it is. Obviously, Instagram, Jamie Webster Music. I'm on X as well, or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, TikTok, Jamie Webster. I'm sure you'll be able to find me, but I think the best place for tickets or album info and news, you can sign up to my mailing list, and that's done through, I think it's jamiewebstermusic.com. Yeah, jamiewebstermusic.com, and you can find all my album stuff there. All my live dates are on there, with links to tickets. And yeah,
I'll put that link in the show notes, mate, so it's nice and easy for people that listen to this to go and click it. And if it's cool with you, we'll tag you in it on Instagram when this episode drops. So if people aren't following you already, we'll make it nice and easy for them to do so.
Nice one, Stu.
Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. It's been such an easy chat, man. I've done 677 episodes of this podcast, and I've yet to speak about Billy Bragg, so you've made my fucking night, man.
Yes, lad. Well, look, like I say, it's been lovely chatting to you. I feel like I'm talking to a mate, to be honest with you, lad. It has been a dead easy chat, so thank you. I think there's something to do, something with Essex and Scousers as well. We just sort of like, you know what I mean? We get on a bit like-minded, just from different ends of the spectrum.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm going to press stop, but don't go anywhere.
Yeah.